Hey y'all, it's Mike. Just giving you guys a couple pieces of advice as far as concealment holsters, the firearm you're using to carry to defend your life, and how you're actually doing it as a system. A lot of people look at the gun and possibly the ammunition, and that's about all they really look at when they purchase one of these things. They read reviews and they do all this research and all this, that, and the other, but that's about all they do. I cannot tell you how many times I sold a gun at the gun store, and it's a $600-700 gun, but they buy a $15 nylon Uncle Mike's holster, and they put on whatever old worn-out belt they're wearing at the time. What you need to think about and realize is that the belt is what supports the weight of the gun, and the holster is what spreads that weight out on the belt. What you're looking for is a belt that is vertically stiff, like this. It's very stiff this direction, but it's very flexible this direction. What that does is it'll let you have a belt that will support the weight and keep it and distribute it out across your hips. Instead of being all right there, it will be spread out and be more comfortable. And it'll also help keep it in place, and that's why you want a stiff on the vertical axis belt. You want a good holster. You specifically want a good holster if you're using steel guns, but polymer guns are no exception. Even polymer lightweight guns can become too heavy at the end of the day if you don't use the right stuff. What you want to find in a holster is actually clips that are not directly over the gun. Say this is our gun, we don't want the mounting clip to be right there. What that's going to wind up doing is over the course of the day, the gun's going to wind up doing this jobby. And you're going to find yourself cinching the belt down tighter and tighter and tighter, get that belt and the gun go vertical. And you're going to be pretty uncomfortable at the end of the day. Instead, if you find a holster that has clips at the very end points, what that'll wind up doing is actually, if you look at it as a curve, pretend these are the mounting clips, and that's your hip. The gun is going to be right where my finger is. It puts the load behind, like the clips behind the gun. What that does is it distributes the weight very, very far across the belt, but also pulls the gun up into your side, and it doesn't lean out the whole time, which aids in concealment and comfort. With that said, a lot of people think they need very, very tiny, itty-bitty little polymer guns that are very, very lightweight to carry effectively and not have anybody know. A lot of people don't think about how they dress, or the belt and the holster, like I mentioned earlier. They never really play around with where the gun sits in their body. They'll pick it right at 3 o'clock, right where the hip bone is, and they'll call it good because that's what they see in the movies. When generally that is what's going to print the most, because it's the furthest out from the rest of your body, and it's generally going to be the most uncomfortable because it's directly on top of a bone, where it's putting all that pressure right in your hip joint. So instead, try about 3:30 to 4:30. Most guys, just looking at like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, a little bit behind the hip. Usually, if you put the top of the slide right where the joint is, or maybe a little bit behind that, you'll find your best comfort, and you'll also find that it really doesn't print a lot. What you're going to want to try to find, as far as holster height goes, a lot of people try to get it so the gun is very low in their pants because it makes them feel like it's easy to conceal it. In fact, if you go for a high rise, it actually puts the grip in the small of your back, like right in here, where your body naturally curves, and the gun kind of fills that cavity, and you really don't print that way. For example, this is a t-shirt, standard t-shirt, and there's a duty size steel gun in there. There's a duty size steel car. It has a grip length that's identical to a 1911. It's literally the same thickness on the grip panels as a 1911. It's a little bit wider in the slide than a 1911, but for all intents and purposes for concealment, this is about as big of a grip as you'll ever find in most guns you'll ever come across for carry. And you can see it has no problems. That position is comfortable while sitting, driving a car, bending over, doing all kinds of stuff. But that's one of the things you really want to try to find is a good belt and a good holster. This particular holster is made by a company called Comp-Tac, C-O-M-P-T-A-C, and is their M-Tac holster. It's a, I don't know why they call it that, but it is a modular unit. And basically you have soft leather that goes against your body. As you can see, this is pretty old. You can see, if you go onto the Comp-Tac's website and look at a new holster, you'll see there's a drastic color change. You can tell where thumb safeties have been sitting the whole time, muzzles of different guns, 5-inch guns, 4.5-inch guns. Let's see, stitching that's being pulled out, missing a screw that holds it together. You can tell that the screw is actually protruding through the leather portion, making a hump. Destroyed and completely flattened rubber spacers, but it works very well. This holster is set up for a slightly forward cant, so pretending this is the belt line right here going flat, it has a slight amount of a forward cant to it. And the trigger guard, it basically sits right where the belt sits, and that's a hide ride holster. What that allows you to do is when the gun is in the holster, properly situated like this, it gives you a nice big open area between your belt, like that's the top of your belt, and your pants, to actually get a good full firing grip for the draw on it. A lot of people, when they first see these, are worried about retention. By retention, I don't mean locking mechanisms and thumb straps and all that stuff to keep in place. I mean, is it going to move and fall out while you go about your everyday life? The reason why that a lot of people up front think these don't have a lot of retention is because you do have the Kydex body, but you have a flexible leather portion, and you can make it all big and ovalized inside. It doesn't feel like it's very secure, but when you put it on against your belt and your body, well, the leather can't really go any further than your body, and the outer portion is secured Kydex, which is very hard, and it will wear your gun in specific spots faster than, say, leather would. Leather wears more slowly over a wider area, but this is a tool. The carry gun is a tool. If you really care about your finish, get a stainless steel gun. Otherwise, come on, people, it's not a work of art, it's a tool. Anyways, as far as the retention portion of it, this little dimple portion just grabs the forward portion of the trigger guard, and that's how it's kept in. To change out these bodies for different guns, it's like $35 for the holster body. You can get one for a 1911, a car, a SIG, an XD, all these guns that don't fit holsters of each other. You can just undo these screws, pull it out, and put your new one in, and you can adjust how much effort you have to do for the draw by tightening these two screws right here. So this is probably one of the better holsters out there that I've ever tried. It's very adjustable for height, for canting, for your different guns. It's extremely comfortable, it's extremely concealable, it's extremely high quality. Expect to pay a solid $80–85 for these things. I believe that's the going price for them now. It is worth its weight in gold. Again, you're carrying a couple $100 firearm. Spend $100 in a holster and spend $50 so in a belt. Two belts I would highly recommend up front is the Wilderness Tactical Instructor's Belt. Go at least for the 5-stitch model for the reinforcement. The polymer insert definitely cannot hurt you, but it can help. So that's one particular belt I would highly recommend. Another one is made by 511 Tactical. This belt is actually too big, but it's more dressy. It's on the cheaper end of the gun belts. It's not like $200, but it does have a plastic insert that makes it very vertically stiff, but still very flexible on the horizontal plane. So that's all about the comfort end as far as the distributing the weight. The other thing is, if you're looking for a good magazine pouch, Comp-Tac makes an excellent unit. Right there. They offer dual ones, they offer single ones, they offer flashlight holders, they offer combo mag and flashlight, mag and pepper spray, and all sort of stuff. It does look like it would print a fair amount with that big old belt loop, but the way that this thing is built, it really does pull into your body, and you can adjust for your draw right there. So that's basically a good setup as far as concealed carry goes. Open carry would be a little bit differently, and outside the waistband would be differently, but that's a very good startup as far as inside the waistband concealed carry goes. Hope this helped you guys.